Hi, my name is Jacqueline Servillo, and I'm here to talk about feminism. Feminism, by definition, is the belief that men and women should have equal rights in political and economic aspects. However, there are many branches of feminism, such as French feminism and American feminism. An important French feminist, Luce Irigaray, was born in Belgium in the early 1930s. And she examines the uses and misuses of language in relation to women. She argued that there is no heterosexuality in Western culture because the culture represents the male gender and that women are always associated as the other. American feminism focuses on women's entrapment within domestic life and the inability to pursue careers. And we see both of these feminist views in many literary works, such as Frankenstein by Mary Shelley. Elizabeth in Frankenstein, we can see her entrapment. She isn't allowed to choose who she can be with. She's told. She's very submissive towards Victor, and Victor claims dominance over her by always saying that he's hers and that he controls her. Also, we can see not only Elizabeth in Frankenstein, we can see Frankenstein, the monster. He's not equal. He's always being judged on his appearance, just like women are being judged on their appearances. And he feels as if he's not a part of the society, which many women might even feel that today. What I did was I interviewed a various number of people from ages 14 to 65. And I wanted to find out what they thought of when they heard the word feminism, because I feel as if many people don't really know a lot about feminism, or they don't really understand what the term means at all. And I also wanted to see what they thought about women's appearances and how women's appearances affect the reactions that men express. And it was very interesting to hear many of their views. And I think that feminism is a very significant aspect of our culture, and that it's important for many people to understand what it means and to help our society move towards a more feminist society, because I think today we're still stuck in such a patriarchal society that, we haven't really moved away from male dominance, that even in the workforce, males are still being paid more than women, even if they come out of college with not as good as grades as women have. And that we still see that many women are submissive. We see it in sexual violence, in dating violence, and even in magazines and across the media. We see that women's appearances are the only thing that they seem to be judged on, and we can see that even in fashion, such as Victoria's Secret. The fashion show only exploits their bodies and how good they look, and not really focusing on the clothes, but more on the model itself. And so now we're going to look at all the interviews that I conducted and see what people's views on feminism are. Okay, what do you think of when you hear the word feminism?
I think of women and the rights that they should inalienably have. So they, as a person, they deserve a full complement of human rights, and that people should not tread on those rights.
Do you believe that we live in a feminist society?
I do not.
What kind of society would you say that we're part of?
It's a very peculiar, slanted in too many different ways, too many prejudices that are not helpful to people to realize their full potential. And one of the groups of people that gets victimized by those biases are women.
Do you think that we'll ever be able to be a completely feminist society?
I don't. But I think that any progress towards more egalitarian way that people see each other is worth every effort to make.
Do you personally think that women are judged every day by men on their appearance?
Yes.
And how come men typically compliment a woman on their appearance rather than their intelligence?
It might just be hardwired. I was an anthropology major when I was an undergraduate, and it is not surprising to me that people have not evolved. The course of human history lends itself to a very difficult road for almost everybody, and women happen to be one of the last bastions of a great deal of prejudice, which I find terribly objectionable.
Okay. And have you ever heard of a man praising a woman for her intelligence? Or what kind of compliments do you usually hear from men regarding women?
Well, as I told you just as we were walking to the office about Jennifer, who's my colleague out at the desk, that she's probably one of the smartest people I know. I have very good fortune to work with some very, very, very smart women who complement everything we do, and they are terrific professional partners in our enterprise. So it is, I'm very fortunate in that regard.
What do you think about when you hear the word feminism?
Equal rights for men and women. That's what women are fighting for. I mean, that's just the kind of person I think of as a woman who's fighting for equal rights between men and women.
Do we live in a feminist society?
Yeah, I mean, I know there are a lot of feminists in this society, and sometimes they fight for women's rights so much.
Do you
so
think
that
the society as a whole is like feminism? Like, meaning that, like, do you think it's equal between men and women in this society?
No, not always. I mean, I know that equal pay between men and women has been a problem before. I don't know if they resolved that yet.
Do you personally think that women are judged every day by men on their appearance?
Yeah. I think that goes both ways, though. Usually, at least.
How come men typically compliment a woman on their appearance rather than their intelligence?
That's sexism, just like objectifying women, I guess. Not realizing that there's something behind it.
What do you think of when you hear the word feminism?
Usually masculine and feminine, and as in masculine is usually man and feminine is woman.
Do you think that we live in a feminist society?
Definitely, because men are always paid more than women. Okay.
Do you personally think that women are judged every day by men on their appearance?
No.
No?
No, because women can also be judged by other women, and even men judge men. Everyone is just judged.
How come men typically compliment women on their appearance rather than their intelligence?
I don't know, I think that it's just because our generation just focuses a lot more on looks than smarts, and if everyone was more smart than looks, then we'd definitely be part of it.
Have you ever heard of a man praising a woman for her intelligence?
Yeah.
And what kind of compliments or pickup lines do you hear from men regarding women?
Everything about butts. Honestly, everything is about butts and boobs, and it's always just like whistling or like, can I get your number or something.
When you hear the word feminism?
Well, I think of, the workforce, definitely how women and men are not equal. I think of, I think of it being strictly women, even though I know it's not, like women fighting for the right. But I know that there's some men in it too.
Okay. Do you think that we live in a feminist society?
No, I don't.
Okay. What kind of society would you say that we do live in?
That's a tricky one. I mean, I think that there's a lot of judgment. I think I know it's on both sides, but there's definitely more judgment for women. But at the same time, there's judgment for men too. It's just different. It depends on what you're talking about. Like for instance, dress code for girls. Like we have more body parts that we can't show as much, where guys are just showing their boxers.
Mm-hmm.
You know, so it's just like it
Right.
it depends on what you're talking about.
Do you think that we will ever be able to be a completely feminist society?
I don't think so. I don't think it's possible. I think it'd be awesome, but yeah, I think that's life. You just gotta learn how to deal with it. Not really deal with it. That sounds bad. It sounds like I'm saying like give up, but like just you can't focus on that stuff.
Do you personally think that women are judged every day by men on their appearance?
Yeah. I mean, yeah. I mean, what do they call it? Cat calls?
Yeah.
Yeah. You see the videos all the time. Look up on YouTube.
How come men, hearing all of the interviews, I've come to a conclusion that overall, I think that we do not live in a feminist society, but we hope to get there one day. Reflecting on all of the interviews, we can see that Russ clearly believes that we live in a prejudiced society, and he doesn't believe that we will ever be able to reach a feminist society. When talking about the appearances on women, he believes that men are hardwired to look at women's bodies. Max believes that feminism is strictly equal rights and believes we live in a feminist society and that women are judged on their appearance. However, it can go both ways, which is similar to what Hannah said when she said that women can be judged by other women and that they're not only judged by men on a daily basis. It's clear that Hannah doesn't really seem to understand what feminism is. When she first describes feminism, she says, well, masculine means man and feminine means women. I think that this proves that we need to start educating people at a young age on what feminism really is and start introducing it at a younger age. I like her point of when she says that our generation focuses on looks. And I think that our generation is heavily relying on the appearances of women, as we see in the media and magazines and still in literature. And I think that is going to be something that's going to interfere with us evolving away from a patriarchal society into a feminist society. Sarah brings up a really good point when she talks about the dress code. And she says that women have more body parts that we're not allowed to show. And she thinks that a lot of our society is pretty much judging women, which is very much true. And that the reason why men say or look at women's appearances and say certain things about their appearances is because she thinks that they think that's what women want to hear. And she says you always hear them say, like, good morning, beautiful. They don't say good morning, intelligent woman. And that's just not something that's part of our society. Jennifer thinks that we live in a patriarchal society, which I can't agree more with her. And I do too hope that one day we will be able to move far away from a patriarchal society, and that we'll be able to be equal in the workforce, in just everyday life. Thank you.